Have you ever fostered kittens, then decided to keep one? It's not uncommon for people to fall in love with their foster cats. Today, I would like to share a story of a shelter cat named Nate that begged his foster parents to adopt him.
And then it was time to take him back to the foster, and Sammy took him back to the foster facility, but sent me a video of him wailing in the crate. As she was taking him back, and that convinced me that we needed to keep Nate because I thought he would be too sad if we left him.
I am the Cat Butler, and my two Ragdoll cats, Teemo and Arya, are the stars of the channel. But today, we will follow a subscriber of this channel, Sammy and Will, as they share the story of their cat Nate, who fought to be adopted, raised foster kittens, plays with hair ties, and finds a female companion, Kimchi.
Hi.
Kim, look at me.
This is a series where we share wonderful stories of cats and their owners.
Hi, I'm Sammy,
And I'm Will.
and our cats are Nate and Kimchi. Nate is the gray boy cat, and Kimchi is the orange girl cat. So I'm really allergic to cats. Like, I'm very allergic to cats. I just spent 7 years doing allergy shots because of cats. But we moved into a new house in 2018, and our neighbors had an outdoor cat named Darren. I loved Darren. Darren did not love me at first. It took me months where I was just feeding him tuna and treats every time I saw him until he would let me pet him. And Darren was the first cat where I was like, wow, I want a cat like Darren. Yeah, that's what made me want to foster, and then that's what introduced us to keeping our cats, and now we're the biggest cat people I know. And what got you into cats?
I grew up on a farm in Arkansas, and we had this cat. His name was Peaches. He was a big gray cat. He looked a lot like Nate, actually, and he would live in our barn where we would store hay, and he would just be on rodent control. He would occasionally, I think he had to fight some larger mammals to keep his steak. I think maybe a raccoon or a possum, something like that. But he would once or twice a year make a migration between these two buildings that were about a half mile away from each other. He would migrate through the pasture, through the cow pasture, between the barn and the shop every year, and he would summer in the barn and winter in the shop.
Like a rich person in the Hamptons,
Yeah.
except going between two different farm buildings.
Yeah.
Can you explain why he was named Peaches? This cracks me up.
My sister named him Peaches because he looked like a rotten peach. He was a mean cat when we got him, and probably, yeah, he didn't like my sister and I guess we were probably little kids that he probably tried to mess with him, and he would attack us back. He was probably about as friendly as Kimchi. What, Kimchi?
Kimchi. No, you're nicer than that. It's just a camera. Just a camera. But it's so funny. Peaches, like, there are so many cats that are the color of, like, actual nice orange peaches, and you chose a gray cat to call Peaches because he looked like a rotten peach.
Yeah. I mean, he lived like 20 years. He got in some nasty fights, but he was around for a long time.
Man, our current cats would not live 20 years outside.
No.
Nate would expire quickly.
Yeah. We fostered Nate when he was a kitten. Nate and his two siblings, Nebby and Elton. And we had Nate. I was working from home at the time. We had Nate for a month or so?
I think a couple of weeks.
And then it was time to take him back to the foster, and Sammy took him back to the foster facility, but sent me a video of him wailing in the crate. As she was taking him back, and that convinced me that we needed to keep Nate because I thought he would be too sad if we left him.
With Nate, I originally wanted to just foster kittens and have kittens constantly cycling through our house. So I had a goal of fostering kittens, giving them back, having them get adopted, and then bringing in the next batch. And I didn't want to adopt any cats. I wanted only fosters because they would stay forever kittens. I'd never have to deal with old cats. I'd never have to deal with vet bills and things like that. And then our first round of kittens, Will could not live without one of them, so we immediately turned from a fostering family into a cat owning family. We got Nate. He was a couple of months old. By the time he was around 3, we could tell he was kind of anxious sometimes. He wanted to play all the time. He really didn't like to be alone. He would whine more, and so he would do better when we had other foster cats in the house. And then we decided we're going to get a second cat, so we just kept on fostering and kind of using that as an audition process for more cats. And then Kimchi was maybe, I don't know, our 15th, 20th foster kitten. And we had her, her name was Cheddar at the time, so we were fostering her for a few weeks, and Nate and Kimchi loved each other. They were obsessed with each other. They were snuggling in beds together, sitting on top of kitchen cabinets together, and since we knew we wanted a second cat, she was the one we kept. I actually had a lot of guilt about keeping her because we had a lot of people who wanted to adopt her, and I was thinking to myself, like, am I just keeping the best cat of all the cats we're fostering? Like, I'm taking the best one off the market? But she was happy at our house too, so we adopted her in the springtime of 2021. So Nate we got in the summer of 2018, Kimchi we got in spring of 2021, and we have been a 2-cat household ever since. And now I tell everybody to adopt 2 cats because they're much better together. It's much easier to have the 2 cats. Like Nate was pretty happy as a solo cat because we had, you know, work from home life and he was never alone, but he's better as a brother.
I think my favorite memory with Nate is probably just his fetching. He got really into Nerf dart fetching, and that's when he learned the whole idea of fetching, and now he's moved on to hair ties. But just playing with Nate in our the house we were in when we adopted him, playing fetch down the hallway with him. I think we mostly just followed his lead. He was excited about it at one point. He kind of maybe accidentally went and fetched it, and then he sort of, I think more he trained us than we trained him, because he would come and drop hair ties in front of us and then kind of look at us expectantly until we shot it, and then we kind of got into the routine of playing fetch more vigorously.
Ready, set, go.
He is. 3, 2, 1.
Sorry, every time he crashes into you.
Alright, bring it back.
All the way back. How's it going?
Oh, Kimchi scared him. He gets distracted.
Yeah, he doesn't understand. I'd say for Kimchi, she always had a really loud purr, but most kittens purr pretty loudly. And I thought that it was something that she's going to grow out of. But when she started just sitting on my lap, sitting on my chest, and then purring so loudly that you could hear it from another room, that's one of my favorite memories of her. And I think that something else that makes it really special is that Nate purred as a kitten and then he kind of stopped purring as an adult. I thought that he didn't have the physical ability to purr. And then Kimchi purrs so loudly that I think it kind of trained Nate. So he went 3 years without purring as an adult. We couldn't tell, we couldn't hear him. And then we adopted Kimchi, and after a year of having Kimchi, Nate's purr has been getting louder and louder too. So I think of her little sounds as one of my favorite things for Kimchi. Come here. I think you can tell who our cat's favorite person is just looking at this. They both prefer Will. Nate has always loved Will, and Will worked from home before the pandemic even happened, and so since the time when Nate was a little tiny kitten, Will was always home with him. So they've always had a bond. And that's partially why I wanted a second cat too. I was like, Nate needs a buddy, but I also need a cat who's like my special friend, who loves me the most. And I think Kimchi liked me the most for maybe a couple months. And then Will has the magic touch, and quickly it became just Will's cats and then me as the little third wheel over here. But he's warmer than me. I think that's part of it. He gives off a lot of body heat, so they always like to sit on his warm lap. And his arms are long enough that he can just kind of hold the cats like his arm is a tree trunk. And I can't do that.
I also never discipline them and give them treats a lot.
I give them treats a lot too. But yeah, no, I have more rules with them where they get up onto counters and I'll tell them they have to get down, and nothing is off limits for Will. Will is their best bud.
Nate's very cool, calm, and collected for the most part, unless there's fetch involved. Oh.
So we'll go farther.
2, 1, shoot. He likes to hang out. He'll occasionally cuddle. He's getting increasingly cuddlier. He's about a little over 5 now. In the past year, he's really gone from being an aloof cat to much more of a cuddler.
He's sweet. Nate's like a snuggly little teddy bear. Like he's fluffy, you can touch his belly, you can mess with him. He might run away if he doesn't like something, but he would never hurt anybody, and so that's the nice thing about him.
We have a theory that Nate doesn't understand that his claws and teeth can be used as weapons, because he's never, even when he's mad at us, he doesn't really know that he can use them to get away from us. Kimchi knows very well that she can do that.
Kimchi, I kind of feel like I have a theory that she doesn't know how to retract her claws. I feel like her claws are out 24/7, and we keep them clipped, but she doesn't bring them back in and leave like a soft little paw. She just always has claws out. If you touch her in an area she doesn't like to be pet, she will smack you, she will yell at you, she will tell you. Kimchi is spicy.
She's got a strong personality. She's very confident in what she believes and says, and she lets you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I don't know if we've affected it because we also talk back at her. So whenever she says something to us, we always kind of parrot the sounds back at her. So, you know, she'll go, "Mah," and then we'll immediately go back at her and say, "Mah." And so back and forth, we'll have a whole conversation where we just chirp at each other. Hi.
Kim, look at me.
Maybe she talks more because of that, because we respond and I feel like we're having a full conversation. Kim! Kimchi! No, you're not gonna chat. Not gonna chat while we're asking. Kim, do you want one more little bite? A little bite of churro? Oh, that's their auto feeder going off. Usually she'd be running after it, but I guess the churro is more important to her. Kimchi! Kim! We took them back to my family's house in Virginia for the holidays once, and my mom loved how vocal Kimchi was, and so my mom would also run around yelling Kimchi's name after her, just trying to get her to speak since she's the chattiest cat. So I feel like the fact that she chirps once or twice when you say her name, everybody just like talks to her because of that. And I don't think we talk to Nate as much. Like we don't call his name as much because he never responds to it.
Yeah.
So it's this whole feedback loop. Kimchi's definitely the little sister. I feel like she follows him around and she wants to be everywhere he is, and he puts up with her. I mean, he loves her, but also he's like the cool senior in high school and she's like the freshman who just like wants to be part of the cool gang. So I can definitely tell that she's the little sibling that wants the approval of the bigger sibling. That's how I see their relationship. But she also is the one that instigates fights between the two of them. Like she'll tackle him, she will swat him in the face, she'll see him sleeping and just jump on him and bite his ear to wake him up. So she's also quite confident.
Let's see, Nate gets cuddly in the mornings, hangs out with me in my office for a little bit. If there are high importance video calls, he has a sense for those, and he really tries to show his face. I work from home, and so anytime I'm on a Zoom meeting that that is important, he really tries his best to get into it. But otherwise, he hangs out in the kitchen, sits in the window. He finds wherever the light is coming in, he'll sit and in the window. Kimchi spends less time with me. She kind of naps all day.
She really likes to be in a covered space. So we have like a little cat teepee. She spends a lot of time in the cat teepee. Both of the cats, they sleep with us in our bed or they sleep near us, like they might be sleeping on furniture in the room. And then first thing in the morning, we have the auto feeder go off before we wake up. And so it used to be that they would stomp on our faces to try to wake us up. But now that we have the auto feeder, before our alarm goes off, it's almost like the cat alarm goes off. They wake up, they go running, they eat, and then after they've eaten, they come back and they cuddle in bed for a few more hours. So Kimchi, sometimes after we wake up, she'll stay like snuggled up in our warm bed, and she'll stay until she's fully rested. Then yeah, Kimchi comes to my video calls sometimes, but she is not as polite as, like, I think Nate is more polite for sitting next to you and just being cute. Kimchi likes to stomp on keyboards and put her butt right up against the camera. So I think more of my customers and coworkers have seen more of Kimchi than they have of Nate. Then they usually eat dinner around 5 p.m., which means that at 3 o'clock they start yelling for dinner and pacing and trying to guide us towards the kitchen because they think we've forgotten. They did really poorly when we did the daylight saving time change. It was like 2 o'clock and they thought it was time for dinner coming up. But then we'll have dinner in the evening, and then if we come and sit and watch TV, we're often on this couch and Kimchi will come sit in between us or on Will's lap. It's very seldom that she chooses my lap. She always wants Will's. And then nighttime, we usually do some playtime. So it's like after it gets dark, we will shoot some hair ties down the hallway for Nate, play some laser for Kimchi. After we play laser, we always make sure that we throw some treats or something for her to chase so she doesn't get frustrated with playing with the laser and then never catching anything. So nighttime is like playtime and treat time for the cats. And then, yeah, 30 minutes before bed, Kimchi goes to a windowsill to watch the pigeons on the street every night. And then we go into the room. They will, they'll sit in the room. They'll sit in the room and be nearby when we're getting ready for bed when we get in bed. But Kimchi will often wait until the lights go out and I actually lie down, and then she'll come up and jump on me.
I want to thank Sammy and Will for sharing Nate and Kimchi's story. Nate and Kimchi are beautiful cats, and they have the most loving cat owners. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. We make videos on helping you become the best cat owner, so please join us. Comment down below, what was your experience fostering a cat?